Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy and to part 2 in my series of making a planner from dollar store supplies. I do apologize for some confusion in my last video. Here comes an airplane. My title, I have been informed, suggested that I was creating the whole thing that last video, and I was introducing my supplies. So if you want to see the supplies I plan to use for this, you can go back to that video, or, which is what I suggest because I go over it a little bit more, or you can just look and see what I do with this one. So today I am just going to be sorting and setting up signatures. And I'm only using these these 5 things that I introduced in the video last time for my pages. And this is the main part that I'm going to use, and it has the calendar pages. So I am going to find the center of this because I need to take it out. I don't want to use this as it is. Found the center, and I just need to take those staples out. And so I'm going to get my tools out, and I did not bring all of them, so I'm going to have to figure out how to do this with what I've got. I think that this all should be helpful because I can slide that up under the staple, hopefully without destroying the paper too much. Like I said in my last video, I'm in Florida for 2 weeks, and so I don't have access to my whole studio. And so maybe this will also be helpful for somebody who's a first timer and doesn't have a huge, ridiculous amount of supplies like I do at home. All right, so we're gonna pull that staple out. I am going to be sure that I keep this in order though, because I don't want to have to try to figure out my months later, because I'm on the opposite side of the book. I can't remember if the name of the month is on each page or just on the one side. Let's have a look. Yes, it's only on the one side. So I'm going to try to keep that together. And I know that I'm not going to need the sticker page, so I'm going to go ahead and just take that out. I am probably using this cover though as the main thing. I'm going to put it over to the side. I thought that I might use it to make journaling cards. I think I'm going to keep it as a cover. So we'll set this over there, and I'm actually going to put one of my clips on it. Now, this is a little book that I got from Dollar Tree that has quotations in it. And if you look right down in here, you can see that it has 3 signatures. And what I'm going to do is look for the center. And these are probably going to be sewn. They are probably not going to be staples. See the threads here? That is the signature binding. So I'm going to get my smaller scissors out, and I'm going to snip those threads. And then these pages, the quotes don't run from one side to the other. It is an entire quote on each page. So you don't have to keep them in order. They're not numbered or anything. So I'm going to take these out and just make a stack. I'm going to do that for all 3 of those signatures. Okay, and that one's glued in. So actually there's only 2 signatures and then a page glued between them, which you'll find sometimes in these little books. Sometimes they don't seem to have a rhyme or a reason for the way that they are bound, and you just have to work with it. The thing is that it's paper, and you can still use it even if it tears. All right, so what I am left with are these pages here that are glued into the spine. So I'm not gonna be able to tear these out. So I'm gonna set this to the side because I'll probably come back and use these in a different way. Next, this notebook is put together the same way as that little booklet was that I just did. It looks to have 4 signatures, and I'm going to do not all of the signatures because I don't need this many pages that I don't think I'm going to need this many pages in it. So I'm going to take 1, maybe 2 signatures out. So I'll probably take, I will probably see how many how many pages are in each signature, and then see what happens, because I'm not going to use this as a notebook when I get home either. I will use these pages to make other projects. So I guess it really doesn't matter if I take out a whole signature, if I take some out from each page. What I can do is just go ahead and take out 1 signature, and then as I'm putting this together, if I decide I need more, then I can take out another signature. Now let me tell you, I'm having a little difficulty with this. On these books, sometimes it's easier to take out the middle signature because you've got a little bit more room and you're not getting impeded by the book cover there. So it might be easier to start that from one of the middle signatures. I have a hold of too many pages here too. There we go. Set that just on this stack because that doesn't have to stay in order either. And I think looking at the number of pages that are coming out, I'm probably going to want 2 signatures, because I think I'll want at least 1 of these pages per month, possibly more. Pull the pages out carefully, because even though you have cut all of the signature binding strings, sometimes they're still a little tight in there. They don't want to come out. Let's see. And I think that is all of the loose ones for that signature. We'll check real quick. Usually, yes, this is glued to that cover page. So I know I want some more pages, so I'm going to go through and do this second signature. And when I take the pages out of these books, I save the covers because I'll use them to make other books. Think I got them all? Let's see. Yes. Like I said, just very, very tight in there. And I think that when they bind it, they put glue. You can see there's glue right there. And I think that the glue seeps through the holes too, which grabs the papers. For being $1, a little over $1, it's actually a pretty well made notebook. Good for just being a notebook. I carry one of these around in my purse just to make notes. And I think that's my glued. Yes, that's glued to that page. So I'm gonna just stick with that many for right now. I can come back to this if I need. And then finally the composition book, which is usually one signature. And it has been sewn all the way down the middle. And usually, I say usually, you can just remove these threads like you were removing stitches from a piece of clothing. Not always. Sometimes you have to snip it because that one may just be tight. The rest of these may come out easily. We'll just go through and snip them. It will be so much faster. Don't even know if I'm on camera right now. Not my usual setup. Can't usually hear airplanes and dogs in the background. There we go. And that's going to take this whole thing apart eventually. And I'm just going to grab 12 pages out of here. I'm going to do the same with my sketch pad. It doesn't have signatures. It is perforated. So I am just going to, I think I'll get 12 for this one too. So here are all my pages, and I am just going to start arranging them in a way that I think will work for me. I know that I want a sheet of the sketch pad. I want a sheet of the lined composition book paper. I want a sheet of the dot matrix paper. And I don't know that I have enough of the quotes to have one per month. I'll have to wait till the end and see. Here I start with notes, and then here's January, and I am going to add a sketch paper. I need to fold it in half. Since this is for a planner, I'm not going to go with my fun angles and such. And since it's a planner, I'm probably going to make sure and do everything in the same order for each month, just for continuity and I know what I'm getting into. And this. And I'm going to go ahead and add that. Then I'm going to open this up to that center section. I'll pick up everything that's left in the middle and put it right there. Just like that. Then I'm going to open this month up, which should be February, not March. There we go. And I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to add my lined paper. And actually, we're gonna go back a step because I think I want my sketch paper to be here instead. All right, now let's go back to February. I'm gonna take my sketch paper, fold it in half. Doesn't have to be perfect. Fold that in half, and then I'm going to take my composition paper, my dot matrix. I don't even know what this is called. It's the dotted paper. For some reason, dot matrix is what comes to head. Maybe somebody can tell me why. And then I am going to go ahead and add one of these quote papers again. Now, I'm just going to open this up, open up the sketch paper, Pick up the last half of February, slide it in. And then open to March. And I'm going to repeat that for the rest of the year. And I think for March, I'm gonna skip the little book because I don't have enough to get me through the whole thing. I don't think. Actually, no, I think I will because it's gonna be half and half. I'm actually gonna have an extra one. We'll open this up. Slide in the second half of March. And I'm actually going to open it up just so I know where I am. And April should be next, not May. There we go, just like that. I forgot that the back half of the quote page will be showing on the upcoming months as well. That'll be on the other side of the pages I've already put in. So that's actually a happy bonus. Happy accident, I guess is more the word. And then we're to the center. And so I need one more set. And here we are in the center. And I think I have this one last page, and I think I'm gonna put it right in there. All right, so I have a few extra of these. I have a few extra of these. And I have a few extra of these because I forgot that in folding, you get double what you think you have. So now I am thinking that I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know if I want to add a page between. Yes, I do. I want to add one more set in here because this is December, so I need another set of the center pieces. Before you sew, look and make sure you've got everything in there that you want to be in there. And there are lots of different ways to put your signatures together. One I've seen recently used is Brad's. I have not figured that out yet, or I haven't seen that, I guess, completely all the way through, so I'm not sure how it works. And I'm going to need that last one that was left over. To go in there, and then I'll open this up all the way to the sketch paper in the center. Pick up this whole thing because I skipped December. Make sure everything is where I want it to be, because your papers do not have to be aligned top to bottom. They can go wherever you want. There we go. And then now I need to decide, do I want anything between this and the cover? And that's a decision you'll make, obviously, along with all of the other things that you're going to put in here. I think maybe I'm good. And so I'm just gonna grab my cover over here. And I am going to have some that hangs off the side. You can see that right there. And I'm gonna take care of that later. Right now, we're just looking at setting up the signatures and then sewing them in. Now, I have an awl. This is not my usual awl. This awl is more for leather making because it tapers all the way up. My other awl gets to a certain point and then doesn't make the hole any bigger no matter how far I stick it through the paper. So I'm gonna have to be careful with that one. This is my piece of foam packing that came from some thing that I ordered, and it is really, really good for punching your holes in your signature. It's like self-healing. It doesn't show it at all. I've been using this for a long time and it hasn't shown. You can use embroidery floss. You can use, this is waxed thread that is intended for making books. You can use regular thread, you can use yarn. I do suggest if you use something that is not waxed, that after you tie your signature knot, you put a little bit of nail polish or glue or something on there to help hold it together, because those things will slide. The wax helps this to grab itself. No matter how tight your knot is on those other things, sometimes they'll still come apart. I measure 3 times the length of my signature because I like to have a little bit of extra play just in case. And I'm going to thread my needle if I can find it. So that it is ready when I am ready. Okay. You do not have to measure. You can eyeball your holes where you're going to be sewing through. Especially since this is just for me, it's not for sale or anything. I'm not real worried about it. So I'm gonna eyeball the center and I'm gonna poke a hole, making sure that I get all the way through all of the layers. Let's see, I'll just put that back in there. See, that came all the way through. I don't want to push this too far though, because that hole's pretty big and I don't really like the bigger holes. Also, I am going to make this 5-hole because these shorter pages, I don't know where they're going to be grabbed by the string, the waxed thread that I'm going to sew it with. So I'm going to make 5 just to make sure that each of those pages has at least 2 and hopefully 3 places where the thread is holding on to it. Make sure I'm on camera. Different setup, I'm just not used to it. And I won't have time to get used to it because we leave this section of Florida tomorrow and head to a different section. Alrighty, the next step, and this is the way I'm doing it because I'm not going to put beads or tails or on this or anything. You need to decide where you want your knot to be, and if you're going to have tails with beads, and if you want them to be on the inside or the outside of the journal. So I go through that middle knot first, and I leave enough that I can hold on to it with my thumb because I want to be able to tie it. Next, I will come to this second knot, or second hole that I punched right there, and come up and through. And I unaligned it because I forgot to clip. So let me clip real quick. Let me get this lined up right there and put my clips on. And these clips are not long enough to hold all of these pages in place. It'll hold enough of them in place that it'll help me to guide that needle through the holes. Kind of out of sink here being in a different place. All right, I'm gonna come up through this hole and pull until it's not gonna be tight, but it's laying across the back without any gap. Then I'm gonna go through this hole at the top. This is a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. I'm gonna go back in that second hole that I came through just a minute ago. And I'm going to come through, and I'm going to skip this hole and come down to this one and go through it, pulling it taut but not tight. I'm going to come in this last hole, come up. I am not worried about stabbing myself. This is not a sharp needle. If you have a sharp needle, be careful coming up and through those holes. I'm going to come back through this hole here. And then lastly, I'm going to come right back up through that center hole again. Maybe. Get through there. I am misaligned somewhere. Let's see where I'm trying to come through. Right there. There we go. And you want to come up on the other side. See how I've got one tail? I have one tail on this side and one tail on this side. You want to come up on the opposite sides. And then you're going to pull it tight. And you might have to come through and tighten your end pieces so that you can tighten the center pieces, just like that. And now I'm going to tie a single knot, an overhand knot, and then I'm going to come back. You can make this a square knot, which would be one time through, or a surgeon's knot, which I've heard at other things too. I've heard a fisherman's knot, and tie that. I just feel like that makes it a little extra secure. And then because I'm not putting anything on my signature ties, I'm just going to clip that right there. I'll put this over here with my other little pile of trash. And I'm just going to push. And one of my friends that I follow on YouTube calls this, I think, training the pages. You're gonna go through, open each page, and kind of just press it down so that it will be trained to lie flat when you are working in it. And this is kind of my flip through of how it turned out so far. And it looks like I probably could have done a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but I just wasn't sure that I was going to catch enough of the short pages with the quotes if I did 3, because there's a possibility there could have been 2 and just barely hanging on, and I'd prefer the extra security. And here we are, right at the center. This is also where if you had your pages not quite aligned, you can train them to be in the right place, like I just did with that page that wanted to go a little askew. Did I think that I missed a month with a quote page. How did I do that? No, I didn't. I'm looking in the wrong place. Because it's on the other side of the month because of the back side of the page. There we go. What I will probably do is go through and on each of these, where the second page of the month is, right here, I'm going to go through and I'm going to put the month on here somewhere because you cannot see that this is September when you're on this side of it. So that doesn't make it useless. I just need to make a note that I need to add that on there. Because otherwise when I open it up, I won't know quickly which month I'm on if I turn to that page first. You know, unless I look down here and see Halloween, and I'll know that's November, but that's probably not the best way to be organized with planning. I think one more month. I think we're on December. Yep. Here's December. And you'll notice how some of my pages are up a little, some are down a little, within the confines of the largest page, which is the calendar page. Oh, I picked up the sticker page. I'm glad I didn't sew that in there, although I would have figured something out. And I don't know that I'll use very much of that sticker page because it's got laundry day and going out tonight and birthday. I don't know. Maybe I will, because this is for my video planning. So I don't really need to put those other things on there. But there we go so far. There's the basis of setting up the signatures and then sewing them in. I hope you'll join me as I continue getting this set up. I'm going to add some lists, some notepads, some different pockets and such to keep myself organized in my chaos. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, be kind. Bye.